Hello, everyone.
All right. Are we ready?
We're ready to go.
All right. We hit the button and we're ready to rock?
We are live.
All right. Well, I hope everybody's doing okay. This is Tim Ross, president founder of what was Mudlick, is now UpSwell. We are all working from home. So if you guys hear some crazy noises in the background, we'll try to keep those to a minimum. But we're all trying to get through these times. You guys are attending the auto repair and coronavirus tips for messaging and management. I know that's been on the top of people's heads for a while. So hang tight. We're going to get started. We have a lot of people signed up. You guys are all going to be in a mute mode. So there's too many on there. So we're going to kind of mute you guys. I think some people have already submitted some questions. We'll certainly be able to answer some questions after the fact. We are recording, so we'll make sure we get this back to you guys. So hang tight with us. We're going to kickstart here in a couple of minutes. We have Sydney Wright on the phone as well with us on the webinar. She is our marketing manager. Sydney, are you around?
I am here. Hello.
Excellent, excellent. Welcome. So we'll have a couple other our panelists coming on here in a few seconds, folks. So if you guys could just hang tight. We're going to kind of mute ourselves again here. We'll get everybody signed back up let everybody sign on. We have several hundred. We'll get everybody signed on, and then we'll get this webinar started right at 2 o'clock. Hang tight, and thanks so much.
And we do kind of have a poll while you guys are waiting for the webinar to start, so I'm going to go ahead and launch that poll. You'll see it pop up. And yeah, we just kind of want to hear what your biggest concerns are right now. We've seen a few of them with the questions you submitted beforehand, but our hope is to kind of hear some of this feedback right now and hopefully be able to let you guys know what everybody else is feeling. Like everybody else has, I mean, I'm sure each one of these concerns is on your mind right now, but I'm sure you guys are wondering like where everybody else is headed at. So yeah, just, answer the poll, and we're hoping that we can send you guys over the results at the end of this. Thank you. We'll get started in like 2 minutes. If you're just hopping on, we have a quick poll that we're running right now, just to kind of see what everyone's thoughts are. So feel free to answer it, and then hopefully we'll be able to show you guys the results of the poll in an email later on. Thank you. All right, about 70% of you have voted so far, so I'm going to go ahead and close the poll. But just an update, about 21% of you are saying laying off and paying employees is your concern. 51% is saying attracting customers, and 29% are saying safety of employees and customers. So pretty varied there. So I'm going to go ahead and close the poll and let Tim get started.
Okay, this is Tim Ross. I am back with you guys. Sydney, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Excellent. All right. Hey guys, this is Tim Ross, president and founder of Mudlick, which is now called UpSwell. We really appreciate you guys coming on board. Sydney Wright is our marketing manager. She was great enough to get everything set up for this webinar. I will tell you, we're all working from home like a lot of you guys might be. So if you hear some craziness in the background, we're doing our best to get through the webinar. We think it was important for us to share this key information for you guys. I think right now, the auto repair business and the coronavirus, it's kind of going hand in hand right now. So we want to share with you guys some tips for messaging and management. We have a lot of people signing on, but it is 2 o'clock and we do want to respect your time. So we're going to go ahead and kickstart this and we'll allow some other folks to come on as they come. All you guys are muted out there right now. So you guys are going to, if you have some questions, I know we took some questions early on, know that we will be getting to those questions at the end of the webinar. And then also there'll be some information for you guys to talk through with us, or our ability to ask us some additional questions here as we go through. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and kickstart and move on to the presentation. So today, hopefully you guys can see our screen. We're going to talk a little bit about our different panelists today on the board. Today we have myself, as you guys know, the host, Tim Ross, president and co-founder. Moderating will be Sydney Wright, who helped get that poll together for you guys. I think that's important for us to kind of understand what kind of questions you have. And then our panelists are going to be 3 guys you've probably known for a while. Reed Parker, who's one of our top senior executive marketing consultants, along with Jeff Snyder, who's another one of our senior executive marketing consultants. These guys have been around the auto repair business for a while and do a good chunk of business to help me start the company. So they're very knowledgeable. And then we brought in also Jason Forrester, our vice president of client services, working as really my right-hand person as well on, and the whole company for that matter, is all their different client issues and logistics. And so we've got a great panel here to share some information. The goal of this presentation is really to be informative, but there's certainly going to be questions that we might not be able to get to, or maybe we don't completely answer. So there'll be a way for you guys to follow up with us down afterwards. So that's the group that you've got today. We're going to kind of speed through the presentation and give you guys an opportunity to ask questions at the end. So without further ado, we'll keep moving forward on the presentation. We're going to talk about these key things: shop practices and messaging, some shop operations, productions and logistics, and then we're going to have that open forum with questions. Some of you guys I know have already attended several other webinars. I think it's a great service for our industry and auto repair to be able to have different points of view and to understand, you know, the different options you have. I will stress one thing: as shop owners, it's important. You guys need to make the decision that's in your best interest. Every shop is different. Every market is different. Every staff is different. Every owner is in a different financial position. You guys are going to hear a lot of different options and a lot of different opinions. The goal for us here is to make sure that we've given you guys information, knowledge, or at least a place to reach out so that you can make the best decision for your particular shop and your particular situation. So let's move forward on with the presentation, and we're going to talk a little bit about shop practices and messaging. And so shop processing and messaging, if we go on to the next slide, we're going to talk a little bit to Reed Parker. Reed, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
All right, Reed, talk a little bit about some of these practices and messagings. I know you talk with and work with hundreds of different shops, some of the largest shops actually that work with us. And so talk to me a little bit about the different things that you're hearing out there, the different services, the different messaging. And again, guys, a lot of this messaging, this is not just for postcards. This could be for any kind of marketing that you do. So take it as an understanding of all the different marketing tactics out there. Reed, what are some of the things you're hearing, and why are they doing them?
Thank you, Tim, Sydney. The first thing out there that we're seeing is trying to find a way to get a message across, whether it be on your phone skill end or through postcards or whatever your medium. Touchless key drop, you know, getting that organized to where we're reaching out to the consumer and trying to be able to do a touchless free to where, you know, a lockbox might be put out front. And some people are coding that to where they can pick it up and never even touch your existing customers as they're coming in, sanitize the cars and things like that. The other's like a lot of concierge services, man. These automotive guys are really creative. And the only thing about that is kind of some manpower. You have to make sure that you got the manpower to do the concierge type service, you know, driving it out there. Some are using Uber to help out. The next is like free pickup and delivery. That's very similar. My background was for years with enterprise, and we lived on free pickup and delivery. A lot of times just trying to get out there to get to the people that might need their cars repaired, and some of the older customers, and taking care of them. And it's got these little, you can see the different things. I've got guys that are getting really aggressive because they need car count on some good, better, best, and even getting their oil changes a little lower. And these are kind of examples over to your right. But I think the key is no matter what you do, control it on the phones. Make sure that you're taking care of the customers, making your people safe, and trying to work the process.
That's good, Reed. I tell you, some of what I encourage folks to do is kind of evaluate what you're able to do, what you're capable of doing. Some of the things else on here that I've had customers I've talked to where they're disinfecting the cars during after the service has been completed. So depending on where your customers are at, what's kind of the market you're in, adding free touchless key drops, adding a concierge service, which could mean free pickup and delivery. It could be curbside drop off and delivery where they bring it to you, but they can just leave the keys in a box outside. And then you guys get the car, bring it in, fix the car, or go through the car like you normally would do, call your customer, sell the job, fix the car, disinfect the car, and then you put the car back out to the curb, and you can deliver the key that way. So there's a lot of ways for you guys to skin this. I think you need to take a look at what would make the most sense. And the disinfecting guys, some people are doing it real high tech. Others are just using Lysol, guys, and just wiping it down. I've seen some incredible Facebook posts from shops where they show actually pictures of the owners out there wiping the cars down. So great things, Reed, to add on the messaging. Anything else you want to leave us with, Reed?
No, I think that would cover it.
Very good. Excellent. All right. Well, let's move on to the next topic, which is shop operations. We're going to talk a little bit with Jeff Snyder on shop operations. This is kind of the things that we're hearing out there in the marketplace and things that we've done. As a lot of you guys know, I've run shops before I started Mudlick Mail with Greg Sand. So we just want to share some of this information with you. So as we move to the next slide, there's some bullet points here we're going to cover with you guys. Jeff, why don't you walk us through a little bit of what you've heard and what you're talking to customers about?
Sure. Thanks, Tim. One of the things is really all about this safety stuff with everything that's going on. What can we do? I'm sure you guys are already practicing a lot of this stuff, but I just wanted to touch on some things that I've heard a lot of the shop owners that are doing nowadays. And for the staff especially, most of them are wearing protective gloves. They're changing their gloves after every vehicle that they touch. They're providing disinfecting wipes, right? So if a customer comes in, ask your customer to wipe down the touch points, right? Key, steering wheel, shifter, like the console, the armrest, stuff like that, the door handles, obviously. So keep sanitizer around the shop, keep them washing their hands. Even some people are ordering steering wheel and seat covers, right, to reduce some of that surface contact so you're not spreading those germs. Just sanitize all the touch points within your shop, whether it's door handles, knobs, bathrooms, countertops, chairs, things like that. And a lot of these apply to the customer as well as the staff, but even when you're done with the vehicle, you're going to sanitize it a lot of times now. So focus on those same major touch points that you ask the customer to wipe down. Have your technician wipe it down when they're done with that vehicle and they pull it around. Some other things may be digital inspections. If you have those as an option, definitely use it. It's going to set you apart from your competition, but it's also a safer way of educating the customer about their vehicle. Digital receipts, online payment processing. Have the customer pay over the phone, have them pay online, email them receipts, right? Practice that social distancing. Again, I'm sure you guys are practicing a lot of these already, but we just wanted to share some of the things that we're hearing from a lot of shops across the country. Back to you, Tim.
Yeah, no, thanks, Jeff. And hey, guys, what I would encourage you to do is, make sure that your staff understand the processes and the reason why you're doing what you're doing. It allows them to have complete buy-in. Again, every department's different, every market's different. Well, I will tell you, a lot of these procedures and things you're doing are really conveniences for customers. And those are conveniences for customers that'll probably last far beyond this virus situation. So these are things that you guys can start to implement as a company and become a part of your routine. Because I think it's important for your customers. As you guys know, most of the customers that you guys are going after are customers that really aren't necessarily the paycheck by paycheck guys. It's about convenience, right? Everybody's got their mix of different kinds of customers, but man, what an added convenience to have a payment portal or some sort of a curbside drop off. The digital pictures and images and things that you can do online now are just incredible. There's some great companies out there doing some really great things. So very good information, guys. Again, if you have questions about, what are the guidelines? I know Sydney's going to provide some guidelines, some websites for you guys to go after so you can look at some CDC guidelines moving forward. But these are all great tips. Thanks, Jeff, so much for sharing. So let's talk a little bit about production and logistics. I know we get a lot of people that talk a little bit about, what's going on out there. Things are closing down. We were fortunate to have a veteran, Jason Forster, with us to kind of walk us through kind of what he's hearing out there. And so, Jason, why don't you talk a little bit about what you're hearing out there?
Yeah, thanks, Tim. Thanks, Sydney. Getting a lot of questions from our customers about, the logistics of delivery and particularly with those customers that are doing traditional marketing tactics, direct mail, things like that. Is the post office delivering? What happens if they suspend delivery? There's just a lot of confusion and a lot of questions. So, for the guys that are listening now, just want to reassure everybody that according to the Postal Service, they are listed as one of those essential businesses that's going to remain open. I know that's been a big concern for a lot of people. Even in those areas where they've instituted, we're all becoming more familiar with the term shelter in place, right? Where people are only allowed to leave their homes to go to essential businesses and services. That Postal Service is one of those essential businesses. So, for us, it's a situation where we just want to make sure we're managing our supply chain to make sure that we can get those messages to the homes, as efficiently as possible. Tim mentioned some measures that we're taking, even as a company to ensure that we're able to do that. He had mentioned working from home for those staff that are able to do so. And even for our vendor partners and for our production teams, only having those staff members that need to be manning the equipment in the facilities, following all the safety protocols. So for us right now, it's just a question of making sure that we can maintain those things for you guys to get those messages in market. And just looking at some of the trends that we're seeing in, the more of the traditional tactics and even in some of the digital tactics. For automotive, they are listed as one of those essential businesses. I'm sure you guys all know that as well. And so they're going to be out there, and there are going to be people out there sending those messages. There's a lot of other industries and a lot of other businesses that aren't on that list, and you think of things like restaurants and things like that. So what we're seeing is, according to the Postal Service, there's a decline in overall demand for the postal system right now as those businesses stop marketing. But what we're seeing is reduced competition in the mailbox. And again, like Tim mentioned, every business is different and you guys want to make the decisions that are going to be best for your locations. But we are seeing a reduction of competition in the mailbox right now. And that goes for some of the digital tactics as well. You think of things like pay-per-click marketing or social media bids and things like that. As that demand goes down, we're starting to see some ability to pick up some better value in things like pay-per-click. So those are the overall trends right now. We're still seeing, the supply chain for the Postal Service is still there. They are that essential business, and we're able to facilitate those requests for the customers. That's what I've got for you, Tim.
Yeah, thanks. No, I appreciate it. And guys, I wanted to make sure, you as an individual shop have to decide what's in the best interest. Where do you want to grow your business? I probably had a dozen phone calls in the last week. Tim, what should I do? Should I market? Should I not market? How much should I market? What's going on? And the good thing about us is some of the changes is that, we do print and digital. So I'm just going to make real general statements for you guys is that, your decision on what to do will really depend on what's going on in your industry. I've talked to shop owners around the country that are as busy as they can be, and they've made no changes into their omni-channel approach. They do direct mail. They've got a digital program. Everything is moving right along. I've got others that it's become almost to a screeching halt. There's a stay-at-home kind of message out there right now, right? So they've really started to eliminate most of their marketing altogether, and they're going to push it a couple of weeks. So that's where you need to work with a professional. I've got a lot of shops, guys, that are moving a lot of business into the social media aspect. A lot of people are on Facebook. Whether you have a provider or you want to give my company a call, social media is a big one right now. There was a big ad they had on Good Morning America today that talked about pushing ads out for small business owners, to push ads out on social media about what all those services that that Reed talked about earlier, about concierge service and free drop off and pickup and delivery, and how you disinfect cars. What's great about social media, guys, is you can also show pictures of your team and your location on gloves and the whole process. And so social media is a great avenue right now. So that's an inexpensive way for us to help you guys get to market. Your existing customers. I got a lot of guys who are saying, Tim, I want to mail my existing customers. I want to email my existing customers. Leverage your existing customers with print or email to help drive in people that already know you. They've already got a spending history, and they've got service needs that they can use on their vehicle. So that's another tactic you guys should consider. Those of you guys that are driving right along and everything is going well, you may continue to do your direct mail program. So there's a lot of different ways you guys can skin that cat. As Jason mentioned earlier, pay-per-click. If you have a program that's working really well for you right now, it may be one where you can take advantage of the situation because the cost per click is way down. But in other situations where you don't really have an established program, that's probably not where you want to spend your money right now, because you've got to establish yourself in the marketplace, and it's going to take a lot of time and money. And this is really, guys, a 30, 60-day kind of situation. So how do we manage ourselves through this 60, 90-day or 30, 60-day kind of period? So when you talk about what marketing dollars do I spend, consider it in that little window. So great information, Jason. Thanks so much. I think we're ready now, Sydney, for the next step. So why don't you talk through a little bit of how we're going to run this open forum?
All right, perfect. Thank you, Tim, and thank you to all of our presenters. There are panelists too. So actually, you guys have been amazing, and you guys have been sending in your questions, and a lot of you had a lot of really good questions. If you don't hear the exact question that you sent in, most likely it's been combined with another question, and we just kind of wanted to make it the best so that our panelists could answer it to the best of their ability. I do want to start off by saying that this is, again, stuff we've heard from our customers, from our government, and from research that we've done personally. So again, the best sources are going to be the CDC, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, your state and your local government, and U.S. Small Business Association. Those are definitely places that we've looked to, and I'll send you guys links to those also. But we will try to answer these questions to the best of our ability. And please ask us questions in the webinar, and we'll try to get to those, but we're going to try to get through the questions you guys sent in from the survey of signing up first. All right, so let's get started. Reed's going to kick us off, and he's going to help us answer the first question, which is, how do we motivate and encourage customers to come in for auto service and repair while still being respectful of the government's recommendations? Reed, can you help us with that one?
Yes, thanks, Sydney. Well, first of all, I want to preface, just to let you guys know, in 9/11, I ran an airport in Atlanta. And just to let you know that one thing Enterprise figured out back then in those days, I was just going to tell you that the one-way deliveries came out of that we could drop cars out of state. It was a challenge. It was something I got through. I opened a restaurant in 06. You guys, I lived your dream. I had it for 10 years. I understand the struggles. So there are challenges. I just want to lead in with that. So in the challenging times in the office, we need to be creative along with leading our people at the shop. We spoke briefly of touchless key drops, pickup and delivery of cars, and partnering with, let's say, a tow company to do that. One approach might be, and I'll be able to get this to you, is a callback plan. Really the callback plan purpose is going to change a little bit. The purpose is to help customers during a challenging time. I'll send you a copy of this. A customer appreciation program is on there. I'll have that. Kind of lists what the owner does there, prints out, and it's kind of like you don't have to spend money. It's kind of like that callback plan that we've always done when September got so tough in a lot of markets, but I've kind of restructured a little bit and I can send it to you. It tells what the service writer does on that to get customers in. What we offer, whether it's, hands-free, touchless key drop. I think all these calls going out needs to just make sure your database and reaching out to them and making sure they have a drivable car, just to do what we can do, whether it's a free oil change for them and a safety inspection, because, in 30, 60 days, this is going to turn around and we're definitely going to need to, keep seeing cars. There's a sample script out there too. And basically, in conclusion, there's many parts of the country that are affected in different ways. Follow the government leadership and we'll be all behind you to make those decisions the best way possible. Back to you, Tim.
All right, perfect. And then we're going to move on to our next question. Are postcard response rates dropping due to coronavirus? If so, how have you been dealing with it? Jason, can you help us out with that one?
Yeah, sure, Sydney, thanks. Short answer to that is it depends, right? I think Tim mentioned it earlier. There are some parts of the country that are seeing more of an effect, due to some of the restrictions that have been put in place. There are other parts of the country where, it's still kind of business as usual. So a lot of it just depends on that market and where you are. And as this thing progresses, obviously that's something we want to continue to monitor. But what can you do about it? I mean, there's a lot of different things that you can try. There's a lot of different levers that you can pull. One of the big things for us, and one of the big things that we always like to jump back into, is this idea of using your information and using your data to benefit you, right? So when we start to see response rates go down, one of the things we might look to do is change the nature of the messaging that you're sending out. Who are we sending it out to? We might want to start mailing out or sending out some messaging to an existing customer database, as opposed to trying to gain new customers. If these are loyal customers that have come in the past, you might want to send them a message that says, hey, we're here for you. We take care of the things that take care of you, and we're open, right? That kind of thing. So, when you do things like that, it helps you to improve that response rate, because those tend to have a higher redemption, right? Also thinking about data, and this is more for kind of everybody, would be using your data to help determine where your best areas are to market, right? And I know that anybody that's worked with Reed or Jeff or any of our sales team in the past, you're familiar with the concept of the penetration report. Using your existing customer data to figure out where your best areas are is going to be helpful for you if you choose to market during this time, but it's also going to be helpful for you after this time, right? Because once we get out of this, one of the things we're going to see is those marketing dollars are going to become more important than ever. So being able to make wise decisions about where you market is just going to be as important as what you choose to say. So using that data, changing the types of messaging you send out, updating your penetration report, I think those are some key things that we could do to help with those response rates. Thanks, Sydney.
All right, perfect. And actually, this ties into one of the questions we just received. Someone actually asked us a question. I thought you guys just did postcards. What's digital? We're about to go into that in the next question that was also submitted into when someone registered, and they asked, how do I increase digital marketing, and which digital marketing tools are best during this time? So, Jeff, if you could help us out with that one.
Yes, thank you, Sydney. I'll start with some of the different options that I would recommend. The first would be addressable geofencing, and you're probably like, well, what is that? It basically is the ability to geofence to a household level, so we can geofence specific addresses, right? Target households around your shop. Just this morning, I got a call from a customer, and he wanted to do addressable geofencing to everybody within about 1.5 to 2 miles of his shop. And his fear was that the consumers didn't know he was open. So on his, he wants to put on there, hey, we're open. These are our new store hours. We have touchless key drop, we have free pickup and delivery, and we have a oil change offer on here. Okay, so it gives you the ability to target people while they're in their homes and on their phones. Okay, so as you know, many employees are working from home. Many students are learning from home. So it's a good way to get in front of people with a quick message. Another thing, Tim has mentioned it before, is social media. Make sure you're updating your Facebook page, right? You want to make sure the members know that you're open. Any hours changes that have occurred. Let them know the safety precautions your business is taking. Maybe ask them to contact you today. Send them an offer for the free pickup and delivery. Use that audience to your advantage. Like Tim said earlier, post a picture of yourself wiping down the vehicle, right? Another option would be email blast, okay? Similar to the social media aspect as far as updating them on the new hours and safety precautions. But yesterday I got an email from Infinity on my wife's car. There's a safety recall on the anti-lock brake system. So they offered to special order the parts. Once they arrived, they would come pick up my vehicle, drop off a loaner, and then take it back and fix it and then re-deliver my vehicle, all for free. Personally, I was pretty wild. I didn't know they would also allow me to use a loaner as well. But I thought that was pretty neat, something you could do as well. I know the other part of the question was how to increase digital marketing. Email, social media updates, a lot of those you may be able to manage internally, but we also have a team here that can help you with that. And then any one of the sales reps can help you with the addressable geofencing. Thanks, Sydney.
All right, thank you, Jeff. Okay, so the next question I'm actually going to cover is how do I communicate with my customers online? And Jeff actually covered a lot of this in his, but I'm going to just add a few things in there. One thing that he said that I really do agree with is email blasts. Again, updating them on your hours, updating them on the cleaning procedures that you are putting into your shop, just letting them know what things you're enacting that would make them feel safer. That's really important. And then again, increasing your social media presence. It's a great way to just reach out and keep them updated. Things could be changing. Things are changing literally daily. So letting people know if you're changing things with your shop on a daily basis, what things those are. And then really important to me, especially as a consumer, is update your online listings. If you're on Google, if you're on Yelp, if you're on Better Business Bureau, anything where you have your hours listed, I would say go in, change it if you're changing your hours, because it's just so much easier to let your customers know, if you're open and when you're open. And another thing that's kind of connected to that is always have someone by the phone. A lot of people are calling in now asking their favorite businesses, are you still open? What are your changed hours? What are you doing to make sure that I'm going to be safe and, your employees are safe? So just make sure you have someone who can answer those questions for your customers, and so you don't lose that business. All right, moving on to the next thing. How do you keep your staff focused on doing the normal stuff? Tim, if you could help us out with this one.
Yeah, and I will tell you guys, this is one near and dear. It's important as a leader that you're calm, that you're calm in the troubled times. You help guide your staff to complete the routine work. I have a good friend and a customer in Vancouver, Washington. His name is Casey over at Casey's Independent, and we were talking yesterday, and he gave me kind of a good analogy. He's kind of treating these virus times like a snow day, and so what are the things that you do at your shop? And some of you guys are in Florida, you're like, what the hell is snow? But just think about it as the fact that, what are some things that we could clean up and improve around the facility? It's a good time also for you guys to call customers that haven't been in a while and do your customer callbacks. I know that when I was behind the counter with Greg Sands, that was one of the main things that we did. We did warranty callbacks. We did declined service callbacks. So you've got all your customers. The beauty about auto repair is all your customers are in the database right in front of you. And so take a slow day, which a lot of you guys might be having these days, and reach out to your customers. Let them know you're still there. Offer them some sort of a VIP discount on their oil change. Give the ones that spend a lot of money that have some declined services, offer them to do a free oil change, or $50 off any service, or something that kind of gets them excited. And then you can walk them through, kind of write out the different things that you are offering. This concierge service, disinfect your car, all these things that we've talked about, build it out in a little script and have your guys just make some phone calls. That's a great way. There are certainly ways you can clean up the facility. But anyways, there might be guys too, it's funny, he mentioned too, people that might want to take vacation, and maybe encourage them to take vacation, give them a few extra days to kind of sweeten the pot. And lastly, it's always a great time to work on training topics. If you're there already and their staff are there already, take some time, advantage to make it more productive by making sure that they understand all the training of the strategy of the store, how we handle customers, make it a training opportunity for you. But at the end of the day, you do have to reassure them to be calm and that this is temporary, and then in the next 30, 60 days, this isn't like the housing crisis or the financial meltdown of the tech facilities, tech companies. This is just a 60-day kind of blip here. Hopefully it's not much longer. It looks like it's not going to be that much longer. So I would just reassure them that that's kind of where I would start. Sydney?
Perfect. Thank you, Tim. And then our next question is what to look/listen for in the marketplace to pivot. Reed, could you answer that one?
Thanks, Sydney. Well, first I want to start with, man, it's good to be able to talk to automotive owners across the country because you guys are the strongest people I've ever seen, man. Everybody's trying to figure out, what to do. And I'm talking to really great minds out there. A lot of them feel in 90 days, there's gonna be a lot of availability of techs. There's a lot of people out there looking at there's 5,000 techs changed their resume just yesterday. But with anything, there's opportunity. So I would just say, UpSwell, the thing about it formerly being Mudlick, the biggest strength we help with you is knowledge. The founder gave us with knowledge and flexibility. No contracts. We're created for the independent operator like yourselves, so you have a chance to pivot on a dime. Ownership realized, our product has to perform month to month in order to earn your business. So some shops are scaling back, some are increasing coverage, some are reevaluating their market, but we're there for them to get penetration reports, and target more precisely. Every operator has a unique situation, so long-term contracts now are a dangerous proposition. You want to make sure you're thinking week to week instead of month to month. Let's solve this thing. In conclusion, keep your ears out on leadership, ShopFix Academy, RLO, those groups out there that have such a touch on those webinars. Make sure you're listening because they got their hands on the pulse and we're behind you. I will tell you, if you make a phone call, we'll pivot on a dime. I've been taking calls all week long and I'll take them next week and I'll be here the month after that. I appreciate working with you guys. Back to you, Sydney.
All right, thank you. Okay, so this is another question we got, which is actually really good. So do you have any tips from the last recession? And Jason, we're going to actually get you to answer this one.
Oh, wow. Yeah, thanks, Sydney. Nobody likes to talk about this in terms of recession or anything like that. I think it's a little bit more prudent just to, like Reed said, you want to take it week to week and you want to take it month to month. But if it does drag out a little longer than that and we do start to see, the economy affected, to a longer extent, there are some things that we can look back to and that we can kind of lean on. I think Tim mentioned it. When UpSwell was founded as Mudlick Mail, we were founded in the middle of the Great Recession, right? And Tim was able to work with Greg and to grow a business in the middle of one of the toughest economies of all time. And some of the things that we're focused on then are, in a tough economy, really a couple of key things, right? Number one, people are going to keep their cars longer, right? If you remember 2007, 2008, 2009, car manufacturers really started having a tough time because people just weren't buying cars. They were holding on to them, right? And so for the shop owners out there, you guys know what that means. People keep on they hold on to their cars longer, more repairs, they're willing to put more in and invest more in because they know they're going to want to hold on to those things. So we're not here to take advantage of a situation, but just to understand a situation. If there's going to be people out there, particularly those existing customers, they might be hanging on to those cars longer. It's just a natural thing that's going to happen. The other key thing is, for a shop owner in a tough time like this, it's really important to own that 1 to 2 miles around your location, right? People there's going to be competition out there, and that competition is going to be offering those deals and discounts just like you guys are. So really focusing on that territory where you've got the blend of being able to put out a great offer and have the convenience. I think that's going to be the key for you guys, is a blend of convenience and safety and a great offer. So Jeff talked about, a few of the different messaging tactics that we can use where we can really drill down on that 1 to 2 mile radius, things like addressable geofencing, things like, maybe a postcard campaign, things like that. So just focusing on owning that radius, I think it would be the thing I would recommend to pay dividends in the long run.
All right, thank you, Jason. Okay, so the next question is going to be, should I lay off, and this kind of goes with one of the questions we actually got in the question section, so this is perfect. Should I lay off my techs, or should I guarantee them 40 hours to clean, update, and paint the shop? And how do I make our employees feel comfortable and let them know we care about their feelings and safety? Tim, if you could answer this one.
Yeah, and I will tell you that is probably what the most challenging area that shop owners have had to face over the last 10 years. It's gotten worse, is how do you find good technicians? So, I did a lot of soul searching on this one. I talked to a lot of my customers that have been really like friends to me for the last 10 years, even speaking with folks that have been out of the industry for a while. And, here's the thing, guys. When I was managing shops myself, that was the biggest challenge, is to find the right people. So that challenge to find and retain a good tech is one of the biggest challenges you're going to face. So if it's financially possible, guys, I would highly encourage you to figure out a way to retain your tech. If you look at the revenue, guys, it's a math problem for me, right? And this is something Greg Sands taught me. If you look at the revenue that a tech can make, a shop, and the amount of money it takes you to give a sign-on bonus in some areas to get a technician, it's cheaper to figure out a way to retain that technician rather than trying to let them all go and rehire them later. So if you can, guys, I would highly encourage you to keep them. The ones that you can't, let's say you're in a position financially you can't, or maybe you can for the first 30 days, but then from there on it gets tougher. Well, then that's when you need to work with your technician. See what kind of weekly pay can they get so that they can pay their bills, pay their rent. These guys want to stick around. I mean, they're going to want to stick around. A lot of these technicians, for a lot of shop owners I've talked to, have been with you for a very long time. They're family, and so they're going to work with you guys to figure things out. Hopefully they'll take a lower amount. But the key is, how do you got to keep your short term? In the short term, you got to keep the business afloat. Most of these staff members are going to understand. And I'll be honest with you, I've had a lot of these discussions as well. Taking a lower check from you guys is still more money than these guys are going to make usually on an unemployment check, right? And so there's got to be some balance, some give and take there. I think people are going to be in different positions. For employees, the other part of the question was, so anyways, that's the technician question. The other side was, how do you make employees feel comfortable? We need to make sure that we're offering them those protections. I think Jeff mentioned it earlier in his part. I mean, this virus is real. It's live. Do you have basic stuff? Do you have the gloves? Do you have the customer drop-off? Do you have soap and water to help them wash their hands on a regular basis? Do you have a contactless paper process contactless payment process where customers can pay their bills and things of that nature? So, that's real key. And one of the questions I had earlier, I saw about, if an employee is sick, guys, and ill, you do need to send them home. And then if there is a situation where they may be a virus situation, they need to follow the CDC guidelines, right? And if that means, that person goes and gets tested and they're positive, then you guys as a shop, as any small business, large business, it doesn't matter. I talk with some of the largest CEOs in the Atlanta area on a regular basis, guys, and these people are following the same procedures. If the CDC has procedures on notification of staff members and employees and customers, we have to follow those just like anybody else. So I think those are real critical things that you guys could take away from. Sydney?
All right, perfect. I'm going to add on a little bit to that because someone actually did ask about what do you do if an employee does show signs of a cold or a virus. So they do suggest that you do send them home, and you recommend that they do get tested for the coronavirus. And then also, if they do come back as tested positive, you get from them a list of every employee that they've been in contact with, and you tell those employees to also go home and quarantine themselves for 14 days. But you don't say the employee by name, just to not make them feel uncomfortable. But again, I'm going to send you guys some literature on this, because again, we're not the experts on this situation, but you guys are asking, so I do want to provide that loose answer for you guys that I found on the CDC. But our next question is, how do you know when it is time to close? Tim, if you could help us with this one.
Yeah, again, this is one of those personal decisions, guys. I've had a lot of shops call me, and they're in different parts of the country, and some of them are ramping up marketing, some are ramping down marketing, some of them can't get their staff to even show up, and so you don't want to make people that are scared show up. There's got to be a balance. So I will tell you, it becomes a personal choice. Again, there's some areas of the country where there's an entire shutdown, and they're or the people just don't want to work, and so you have to manage yourself through that. But most of you guys should know that, and it's been mentioned a few times, auto repair is an essential service. Somebody's got to be open, guys, to take care of that vehicle of that doctor or nurse or grocery store person or FedEx driver or an ambulance or a police officer or somebody who's got a medical, a reason to be out, either a job or a medical reason to be out. So it's important that someone's there to fix those emergency vehicles, help stranded motorists. All this is really important. So, again, you may have to skinny down your team to a smaller crew for a few weeks. We've talked a little bit about how that can happen, but there are going to be times too where we're going to all take a little bit of a financial hit on this. So the goal for you guys is to protect yourselves, protect your business, protect your employees, protect your customers. Know that this is short term, and I will tell you, as owners, the sacrifices you make short term today are going to reap big dividends for you in the future. So I would hang in there with you and really make sure that you guys know that this is going to pass. It's short term. We have a robust economy. I agree with what I've heard about the economy picking up. All the larger advertisers I've talked to are realize there's a pent up demand, and they're excited to be in auto repair, and it's going to crank back up. So hang in there. Good question, Sydney. Back to you.
All right, so this is one of the questions that we received, and I'm actually going to kind of end on this one. It actually has nothing to do with coronavirus, but what better platform to talk about it? Someone actually asked, why was the name changed to UpSwell, and what's the meaning? Is there any one of our panelists that want to answer that?
Yeah, this is Tim. I can say that my biggest reason why, guys, we wanted to make that change was because UpSwell for us is we want to provide an UpSwell of business for you guys. And what we've realized over the last 10 years when I opened the company is that, our guys, our customers, a lot of them become friends, need more services just beyond direct mail. So this full service approach that we've offered, we want to release it with a new name, a new energy, and a new feeling that we can bring customers to you in many different aspects. It's not just postcards, but that our data-driven approach, our holistic approach, our knowledge of the auto industry is all big wins for our customers as we help you guys grow your business. Good question.
All right, thanks, Tim. And then Russell McLeod, I'm going to give him a shout out. He did some research for us, so some of you guys don't have to do it. He said the CDC says that if an employee tests positive, contact your local health officials for guidance. And he said he did have to spend an hour and a half on hold to find that out. So, he saved you guys an hour and a half of time to know that. So contact your local health official if one of your employees tests positive. Another question that we did receive is, are you guys offering any coronavirus marketing discounts? Did anybody want to answer that?
Yeah, this is Tim again. I probably should be the one that answered that. Hey guys, we don't have anything specific for that. I think just like you guys, we're all in a position now where, we're having to figure out a way to keep us running as efficiently as possible. So what I would tell you is work with your sales rep. If there's things that you got to get out there, we want to help be a marketing partner. We're going to work on a case-by-case basis individually. There's tremendous amount of finance options out there that we offer internally through a couple of different companies. And then we certainly will do whatever we can to make things easier on you. So I would say reach out directly, and well, I'm sure we can come up with a program that would make sense for you guys.
All right, perfect. Okay, so that's going to be the end of the webinar today. Thank you again for coming. If you didn't get your questions answered, I know there's some questions that we didn't get to answer. Please send any additional questions to grow@upswellmarketing.com, and I will be sending out a follow-up email just to give you some of those links that we talked about during this webinar. And Tim, I'm going to pass it over to you to close it out.
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody. A lot of you guys, I'm looking at the names on there, like Russell McLeod, that's a name, blast from the past. Russell, great to see you. People that helped me start this company years ago. So hang in there, guys. This is going to get better. I've talked with some of the largest companies in the country, as well as shop owners from all over the country. Let's get through this together, guys. 30, 60 days. Be positive. Be proactive. Be excited about the future. Thanks so much for your time. This will be recorded. We'll get that information and a thank you out to you, I think, after the webinar. Thanks for your attention and time, and have a great rest of the week. Sydney?
Perfect.
Have a good day, everybody.